Remember when NASA sent a woman to space for only 6 days and they gave her 100 tampons. 100 tampons. And they asked, will that be enough? Cause they didn't know if that was enough. These are our nation's greatest minds. They are literally rocket scientists. They also tied the tampons together by the strings like sausages. 100 tampons. 100 tampons.
I want to take you guys on a trip to 666 United Nations Plaza. What an interesting number they choose for the address. But I want to take you inside, and I want to show you some of the things I found that are kind of mind-blowing. Let's first look in this auditorium and look at some of the art that they choose for the wall. Not that one as much, but more of this one. Does that remind you of anything? Reminds me of the Wilson volleyball from that movie. We'll get to that more in a minute. But check out what else is over here. You know, just the United Nations logo that looks exactly like the Flat Earth map. Literally exactly like the CBS American School of Air map that I just posted on yesterday. All you gotta do is flip it sideways. And it's an identical match, including the Antarctic ice wall. Now let's get back to that volleyball. Maybe it's just me, but they resemble each other an awful lot. And what else would that be? And if you don't know what this actually symbolizes, well, the celebrities do, because they've been shown wearing things that depict it on their clothing, just like Ellen here. And if you don't know what it is, let's just say it has to do with films that sound like stuff, but no T, different letter. But I'm not even done with the fun. I want to show you this interesting little hole I found here. It looks an awful lot like things I post on an awful lot. Things like these giant craters found all over the earth that are supposedly from meteors. But if you watch my videos at all, you know what I think they really are. And if this is depicting what I think it's depicting, then what I'm going to show you next makes a whole lot of sense. Because when you go back in the United Nations building, this is the statue you find. That's right. That's Zeus. That's clearly Zeus. Do you know who Zeus is? Zeus is literally Satan in disguise. It even talks about it in the Bible because the altar of Zeus is the throne of Satan. So yes, 666 United Nations Drive has a statue of Satan. It has a tribute to the hole he crawled out of after the 1,000 years of his imprisonment, because he's here right now, deceiving the nations for a little while. And I haven't even mentioned the beast-like statue that they literally took down because too many people were saying it reminded them of end times prophecy.
So essentially all NASA did was wrapped our circle around a fucking ball and made Antarctica, the outer, a small part. So therefore you just reverse it. You take a geometric plane and you turn it to an heliocentric plane. So you take that, and if you were to expand it and wrap it on a flat, you know how like they have like the pictures of like the three little humps on the flat plane of the globe. Well, that's not a flat Earth model. That's not. You can see a flat Earth model by seeing flight paths and them landing. It's flat Earth. Anyways, only reason they wrapped around a ball, or only reason everything makes sense is because it's wrapped around a ball, and everything of perspective is looking up. So anything above you on them will be out, so it'll be outwards. Anything above you will be outwards. That's perspective. I hold something right here, and then I go way over here. Oh, now it looks like it's right here. It don't look like it's right above me. Their God is gravity. Their God, everything, it only works with gravity, and gravity's a theory.
These globeheads think that zooming back into a boat and watching it re-disappear bottom up is because of Earth curve. The first time it disappeared bottom up, it was because of perspective. The second time it disappeared bottom up, it's because of perspective. And then they want to say, oh, but the second time it doesn't get smaller. Are you joking? Look at the video. Look how big the ship was before. Look how much smaller it's getting. And by the way, why is the horizon left to right completely flat? Like, do these guys think that they live on a cylinder Earth? Like, seriously. Left to right, the horizon's flat, guys. It's not disappearing behind a curve. The Earth is not too big to see the curve at sea level, but birds go over the curve at sea level. Wake up. Look how much smaller the boat got. Look at that. Go back to the start. Watch how big the boat was. You guys really need to start thinking for yourselves. Come on. I'm going to put what the ship looked like at the end of this video. Look how much smaller the boat got. It's not going beyond a curve.
What up, fam? We're talking about submarine cables, and there's an interesting thing about them, which is the way that they're laid out. Check this out. There's none from southern country to southern country. Now, they help power the internet and transmit 99% of all international data, again, from southern country to southern country and again. Now, here's another projection of them, again, none from southern country to southern country and again. Now, up here, we got a little bit that connects, and I'll show you how that works. So right here is the only part that connects. Check this out. Now it makes a little more sense when we map it out on an AE map, aka what a flat earth map would be. So it goes from here to here, but it doesn't go from down here to over here, or from South Africa to Australia, or from Australia to South America. This is why there's no sea cables that connect, because the distance is way further than what they tell us, and coincidentally, there's no cruises that go from South America to New Zealand or South America to Australia. Probably just a coincidence.
Purveyors of the realm of scientism, which is a religion, mind you, always love to bring up Charles Darwin. And Charles Darwin himself was known to have been a 33-degree Freemason, as well as most people pushing the globe or heliocentric lie. And like it says here, Charles Darwin created the theory of evolution. Sorry if it's cut off a little bit in the video. He was also a high-level Freemason, meaning he quietly worshipped Lucifer, the fallen one, or Satan. Conclusion, the theory of evolution was created by a high-level Satanist. So based on what we know about him, especially people that consider themselves Christians, what are you putting your faith in? The Word of God or high-level Satanist? I'll let you think about that.
Just when you think you've heard it all, you hear about another moon landing hoax story that your fact checkers have cleared up for us. Here in this photo of your American heroes, these astronauts, they're shown not wearing their helmets in this picture. Looks like the moon that they're on here, right? Well, thanks to the fact checkers, they clear it all up for us, and they explain that the photo is authentic, but not taken on the surface of the moon. Which, coincidentally enough, they took this just a few weeks before they allegedly went on the moon for Apollo 16 for a training exercise. You really got to ask yourself, when they can generate images like this that look an awful lot like these guys are on the moon, it makes you wonder and question if this whole thing really could be staged, whether it was or not. Could it have been staged? But thanks to the fact checkers, they cleared all this up, you guys. Just a couple months after they staged this picture, they went ahead and went to the moon where they wore their helmets. I purposely just want to give a shout out to all these fact checkers out here doing work for humanity, guys. We really got to give them a round of applause. They really have cleared a lot of these false conspiracies up for us, and we got to just really be thankful that we've got entities out here that have our best interests. They're making sure that all the facts are checked, and they're making sure to debunk all the BS that people are pumping out here about fake moon landings.
What's up, y'all? So I cannot wait for the "I bet you failed science class, didn't you?" comments on this one right here. But look on NASA's website, definition of linear aircraft model. A linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a, what's that? Flat, non-rotating Earth is derived and defined. Now, y'all, let's use some common sense for a minute. Y'all like that picture? Let's use some common sense for a minute. If we're blasting through space at 67,000 miles an hour while rotating at 1,000 and something miles an hour on a round Earth, why would NASA need to define a linear aircraft traveling over a flat, non-rotating Earth? What sense does that make? Again, Cam didn't type this. NASA did. It's right on their website. Why would they put it there? Y'all, they put this stuff right in our faces every single day, like every day. The good news is some people are starting to open their eyes to it and wake up.
Listen to this dude right here explains your statement perfectly.
No, I don't expect to see buildings tilting away from me because I understand beyond a reasonable doubt that Earth is indeed flat. But hypothetically speaking, if Earth were indeed a globe, I'd imagine we should be able to at least measure how much a building is tilting away from us, wouldn't you say? I mean, even if we couldn't see this supposed tilt with the naked eye, we should be able to measure it by measuring the distance between two buildings from top to bottom, right? And let's say these two buildings are 3,000 kilometers apart. That's 1,800 miles. Now be a sport and tell me how many degrees over a distance of 1,800 miles. Then post some evidence showing me that structures do indeed tilt the further you get away from them.
Measurements were done of the bases and tops of two buildings, one in Torres, Rio Grande do Sul, and another in Natal, Rio Grande do Norte, 3,050 kilometers apart from each other. According to the theory of the spherical Earth, the distance of the measurements of the bases must be different than the measurements of the top, even in a few meters. But if the measurements are equal, this would show that the Earth has no curvature. Remembering the opinion of the INCRA engineers before the experiment,
probably there will be in relation to the extension of this line, perpendicular to the baseline. I believe it will be longer.
Thinking of the Earth as a globe, the initial expectation was that the measurements were different.
But when the results arrived, the base and the top measurements were the same, showing that the two buildings are leveled upright. And here the opening angle, where we read the point here, the base of the building and its height. As we do this calculation here, on this plane, we will always find this distance here. On this plane, we will always find this distance here.
the identical measurements of the distance between the bases and the tops prove that between the two buildings there is no curvature, proving that the Earth has no spherical shape.
Now, brother, why ain't gravity pulling them bubbles down, them bubbles floating up? Where gravity at in this equation?
Yeah, density.
So density is powerful than gravity now. When density, so let me ask you a question.
No, it's just the force pulling the water.
Brother, you need to stop and listen to my question. When does density decide to pull up, and when does gravity decide to pull down? That's my question.
No, it's both at the same time. Obviously.
So why ain't gravity winning this battle but with these bubbles? Because think about what I'm about to tell you now. Gravity is keeping all of the ocean water held to the earth. That is a lot of water weighing an amount that we can't even fathom. But it can't keep these bubbles held down. I want to hear your explanation of why gravity's failing and density's winning right now.
Because the water is heavier than the air. So it orders.
Okay, hold on, no, I got your answer, brother. That was the answer. That's it. The air is lighter than the water. Guess what you just did, though? You debunked the theory of gravity with the law of density. And I'm finna prove to you that you just did it. Density doesn't need gravity. Gravity needs density, and that was what just happened right now. See, gravity only explains why shit fall. That's why Isaac Newton created that dumbass theory with an apple falling on his head. They should have checked to see if the apple damaged his goddamn brain, because if he thought that gravity was a force pulling the apple down, but it didn't pull the clouds down and this fool, if he thought that this force of gravity was picking on one apple in the tree but letting the rest of the apples stay up there like a goddamn dummy. No, if you cut me off, you got to goddamn go. Don't cut me off, man. I'm talking. Like I was saying, he was a dumbass if he didn't know that this particular apple failed. Right, and it got heavier than the other apples, dude, and the tree could no longer sustain it. You know what that's called? The law of density. You know what the law of density is? Not a theory, which is what gravity is. You know what laws can do? Stand alone. You know what theories can't do? Stand alone. Which is why when we ask you about the bubbles, you got to say our argument, which is density. We never bring up gravity for nothing. If you ask us why the rock fell into the water, we're gonna say because the rock was heavier than the water. Now you using that explanation to explain why the bubbles go up, but you won't use it to explain why the rock go down like a goddamn dummy when the damn law of density explains them both. You choose to just use one part of the law of density, which is why when it's time for you to explain why shit go up, you abandon gravity and have to go to the law of density. But a flat earther, we never have to abandon a law of density, even when somebody asks us why shit go down, because there's one law explain them both. It's a law, not a goddamn theory.
Okay, so you said with the bubbles, right? So you're saying that the gravity stops, and what I'm saying that gravity stops when it comes to density. But I never said that. I'm just saying gravity is always working, and then you have the bubbles.
I didn't say nothing about listen what I'm saying. If gravity, I know gravity according to your model is always working. That ain't the question. The question is, gravity only explain why things fall. It don't explain why they rise up. We can play around with the law of gravity, because with the theory of gravity, it say what goes up must come down. That ain't true. Some things go up and stay up and never come back down, and that is explained in the law of density. But if your theory only explain why things drop and is only a focus on dropping, then when somebody who embraces the theory of gravity, when somebody asks them why did this air bubble float, they start teaching density when they should have been teaching that law to explain why the apple fell too, because the apple is heavier than the air around it.
Exactly.
So if I drop the goddamn apple, it's gonna drop. But if I drop the helium balloon, it's gonna rise, because the helium gas is lighter than the air that's around it.
It came in the mail and y'all are opening it with me. Ooh. Smell it. Woo!
flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.